Welcome to History Mystery. Today's show, we investigate undiscovered Coventry, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Coming up on today's show, the police leave Coventry, mice in the cathedral, and a questioning caterpillar.
Who are you?
And a special exclusive just for you listeners out there. Do you know how Coventry got its name? Well, in fact, nobody knows. But everyone has a different idea.
With the Coventry legend, I think, is the one that we should go for.
There's a big tree out in Bagnington which is supposed to be Coffer's tree.
Our ideas, yet again, are different. Victoria, what do you think?
My theory comes from the idea of the word being split up. So you had Coven, meaning convent, and tree, the Celtic word meaning settlement or town. Mm-hmm. This gave birth to Covent Town, which then later became Coventry.
Very, very interesting. As my idea actually comes from the goddess of water, Coventina, and this is because that Coventry, the ground that Coventry evolved from, were known for being plentiful in drinking water and plentiful in fish. So I guess it's just one of those History Mysteries. Everyone knows this song. Do you recognise the lead singer? Of course you do. But did you know that the lead singer of the Police, Sting, was actually born and bred in Coventry, along with Marlon Devonish, Clive Owen, Ian Bell and Pete Waterman. Coventry launched some essential industries including wool, ribbons and other textiles. However, the motor industry proved the most pinnacle to the Coventry trade. We spoke to Steve about the importance of the motor industry to the development of Coventry.
Well, Coventry is sort of like the home of the British motor industry because in 1896 the first factory was set up to sell cars to the public. So cars were being made before that in cities around Britain, but the first car factory was opened up in Coventry that was going to make cars and then sell them to the public. So Coventry is the birthplace of the British car industry. What it brought to the city: employment, wealth, prosperity. It was known all over the world as where cars were made. Those are the positives it brought to the city when it began to collapse. It's strange that the bicycle industry was as important, if not more important, than the car industry in Coventry. During the 1870s, 1880s and 1890s, Coventry became the centre for cycle production in the world. Not just Britain, but the world. It was called the cycle capital of the world in the 1890s. And in terms of inventions and things like that, it was very, very important. The bicycle as we know it, the modern bicycle, was invented in Coventry.
The cathedral is just one of the 3 spires that marks the city of Coventry. In 1990, Queen Elizabeth II visited, and clearly nervous in her presence, the host had made the mistake of spelling her name wrong. The Queen, as lovely as portrayed, didn't bat an eyelid, and signed her name correctly, which can still be seen today on the cathedral wall. Here's Michael Cole to tell us a bit about the history of the cathedral.
It's interesting to note that this is the 3rd cathedral that stood here. The first one was dismantled by Henry VIII. The second one, of course, was destroyed by Mr. Hitler. This is the 3rd one. It's an interesting painting, this, that the guy that painted it, Terence Cuneo, anybody know him? He was the mouse man. What does that mean? Well, he was the guy that used to paint canvases of steam trains, big canvases of steam trains with smoke and fire and stuff. But whenever he finished any of his paintings, he put a mouse on there. Okay? He was commissioned to paint this, and guess what? There is a mouse on there. This is when the Queen visited us. That's her signature. She spells it with a Z, a Z. Correct? She knows how to spell her name. But look how we spell her name. We spell it with an S.
With an S.
I mean, that's tragic. We can't spell the Queen's name. You've heard of Queen Elizabeth I, haven't you?
Yeah.
What was she like? She was a bit of a ferocious person, wasn't she? She used to chop people's heads off just for looking at her. If you spelled her name wrong, goodness knows what would happen to you.
As with most history, along with the highs comes the crashing lows. As everyone knows, Coventry was blitzed. It was the 3rd worst bombed city in the country. This brought the city to its knees, but forced it to literally rise from the ashes. To represent the regeneration, a phoenix was added to the Coventry shield, which continues to share this space with the elephant and the mountain lion. This wasn't the only war that Coventry faced. The Civil War during 1861 to 1865 was instrumental in the creation of the phrase "sent to Coventry." Mike from St John's the Baptist Church explains.
Coventry was a parliamentary owned stronghold in the English Civil War, and the last of the parliamentary battles, they took a lot of the parliamentary victories, took a lot of the soldiers and imprisoned the royalists in here, and there was no all the gentry, all the commanding officers were put somewhere else, so they just ran amok in here. And so they were banished from, they weren't allowed any food or drink by merchants, and they were sent to Coventry, as it were. They were just, people were blanked, and hence they ruined the church completely.
A lot of people know the story of the 5th of November and its star, Guy Fawkes, but not many people know that the Parliament participants originated from Coventry. This day in history has gone from tragedy to celebration. The country now illuminates the skies with the bold and beautiful fireworks. And like they say, when it rains, it pours.
Well, no wonder you're late. Why, this clock is exactly 2 days slow.
The famous author known as Lewis Carroll, but born as Charles Lutwidge Dodgson, who wrote the wild and wonderful fairy tale Alice in Wonderland, was sent to Coventry, as his relationship with the inspiration of the character Alice deemed too much. As we promised, it's now time for our exclusive. Drum roll, please. The cathedral cellars are being cleared out of all the rubble to retrieve the old treasures that may still be down there. Find out more next time when Lady Godiva wakes up and walks through Coventry. And on that note, thanks for tuning in. Join us again for another History Mystery.